This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You are watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Okay, so this subject seems to be gathering a bit of momentum. Of course, we're talking about DAZN on pay-per-view, incorporating pay-per-view into their model. So I'm going to talk about that in this video. Now, for those of you who've been with me for quite some time, firstly, thank you very much. If you're not subscribed, please feel free to do so. It is free. It'll change your life. Turn that red to grey on that subscription button. Go do it right now. Now, I don't talk about pay-per-views in a negative way or even in a positive way, okay? I don't kick off about them. I don't make videos hollering, screaming, shouting the house down, flipping coffee tables and saying how disgusted I am that this is pay-per-view. I don't do that, okay? I mean, I do rage and shout around a lot, and I have flipped my coffee table before on certain subjects, but not on pay-per-view, because I understand, like most of you do, that I have a choice to click that red button. Nobody's got a gun to my head, and nobody has something set up that a pay-per-view is announced and it's going to be automatically direct debited from my account without my consent or knowledge. And there's nothing in the world I can do about it. No, I understand. Click that red button, put in the PIN number if I'm happy to watch it or not. Some people will use a streaming service. I don't. It's not something that I've ever done, but some people do. But the point is, you have a choice. That's why I don't make videos kicking off about it. So those other content creators who do, I don't know why they do. Do they think they're going to change something? They're not going to change anything. So what's the point? All they're doing is maybe doing it just to try and get a few more subscribers or something. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, DAZN and pay-per-view. Now, if you're like me, I have Sky Sports. I keep Sky Sports. Some of you will keep it for other sports like your football, your Premier League, whether it be rugby, Formula One, darts, whatever, okay? You'll have your choice whether or not you have Sky Sports or not. For me, I keep it for boxing, okay? Now, yes, I'm a football fan, and of course, I'm a Newcastle United fan. I have been all my life, and I always will be for my sins. I was born here, currently live here, spent a bit of time away, hence my southern accent. But when it comes to boxing, listen, I support Ben Shalom. I support Boxer and their product. Of course, it's certainly going to help with the fact that some of my friends are on Sky Sports. So with the events that I can't get to, of course, I need Sky Sports to watch it. I'm not going to illegally stream it, okay? That's not what I'm going to do. But Ben Shalom is a great guy. I spoke with him a couple of times briefly. Very, very nice guy. And you're going to see huge things come from Ben Shalom. Right now, he's just in the teething process of building up what it is that he does. And I said to you guys before, he's one of the very few people out there that I have to give massive credit to, that he actually pulled me up. He pulled me up for saying how a promoter should be out there in front, should be doing interviews, should be doing all this kind of stuff. But of course, not just him telling me, but of course I've seen it as well, that Ben Shalom, he sees boxing as that's the product. It's the boxing show. It's not the Ben Shalom show. Okay? But in time, we'll see Ben Shalom a whole lot more. Anyway, very, very nice guy. So I keep Sky Sports for those reasons. Obviously, my friends like Stephen Robinson, George O'Connor, April Hunter, Lewis Ritson, and Rishi Riakpur, and quite a few other people are part of the Sky Sports product. But that said, I still have a choice whether or not to click that button or not if they were to announce, say, for example, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Liam Williams. I have a choice to click that button or not, okay? Now, with DAZN, you could probably look at it, and there's quite a few chestnuts to crack open, which is £96 per year for here in the UK. £96 per year is £8 a month, £7.99 per month. So £96 per year. That's the equivalent to 5 pay-per-views, is it not? That would be on Sky Sports. £20 per pop for a pay-per-view. Okay, some are 25. So even though it's 25, that's 4 £25 pay-per-views per year. So really, we're paying £96 per year for content that we was already getting on Sky Sports when Eddie Hearn and Matchroom were part of Sky Sports. Yes? There's that way to look at it. So when Eddie Hearn says we're giving you value for money, yeah, you are if you don't have Sky Sports. Okay, yeah, you are. But if you're keeping Sky Sports, it's an additional £96 per year that I'm having to pay on top of what it was that I was paying before to get pretty much the same content. Again, you could look at it and say, well, Parker versus Chisora 2. That's going to be part of your monthly £8 per month subscription on DAZN. Had they still been with Sky Sports, would that be on pay-per-view? Yeah, it would. Dillian Whyte versus Otto Wallin. Had that fight have gone ahead, would that be on pay-per-view on Sky Sports? Yes, it would. But now it is part of your monthly subscription. Again, I mean, I've got DAZN, and I've only used it a couple of times. I must be brutally honest. The Liverpool show was the last one that I watched. But again, that wasn't even in my house. I went around Mark Lizelle's house with Steve Robinson and others to watch that show there. So on my TV, I've got it, but I don't really use it. But it's there anyway, I suppose. Now, for them to incorporate pay-per-view, as I said before, you have a choice, watch it or don't. Now, Eddie Hearn, of course, he's done multiple interviews on it. I interviewed Adam Smith, and I know other people that have as well. So there's plenty of different thoughts around to the pay-per-view. Again, I'm going to keep on saying it. You have a choice, click it or don't. Now, Eddie Hearn, of course, he said that DAZN need to be incorporating pay-per-view so they can compete with others when it comes to pay-per-view, as in Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is currently a free agent, and if DAZN can't offer him the pay-per-view platform, the pay-per-view model, then his fight here in the UK could well be on Sky Sports, could well be on BT Sport. DAZN want Joshua exclusive to DAZN, okay? Because obviously he's a big numbers man. But when you really look at it, a pay-per-view is a get-out clause for a promoter, for a network, isn't it? If you want X amount of money, fighter, boxer, you want X amount of money, cool, you can have that kind of money for your fight, but you're going to have to earn it. The more clicks you do on the pay-per-view, more money you get. If you don't do very well on the pay-per-view, then you don't get as much money as what you would have hoped. It's a get-out-of-jail-free card for the promoter and the platforms, like the broadcaster. So I understand the necessity for pay-per-views, because without it, we probably wouldn't get a lot of the fights that we get. And that's the truth of it, isn't it? Thankfully, we're not in America, where these people get royally screwed. $85 for some of their pay-per-view. Some of their pay-per-views are not even regular Saturday night fight nights here in the UK. For me, Gervonta Davis, not on your Nelly. Not on your Nelly. There's no way him versus Romero is pay-per-view. Him versus Leo Santa Cruz is complete trash. Okay, let's be honest about it. Again, Errol Spence is not a pay-per-view fighter in my mind. Unless, of course, he fights a Bob Crawford, for example. Okay, but again, you have a choice, click the button or don't. Now, of course, there is a worry when it comes to Eddie Hearn. Of course, he said once before that DAZN, they don't have the pay-per-view product, which of course they don't currently, and it's oversaturated. The pay-per-view market is oversaturated, and they want to get away from the pay-per-view. And now suddenly he's talking about, well, maybe we will have pay-per-view for certain fight nights. Is it two-faced? Yeah, in some ways, but in other ways, he has nothing to do with it. He has no control. He may have some influence when it comes to DAZN, but he doesn't own DAZN. He works for DAZN. DAZN employ him. They will make the decisions. It's got nothing to do with Eddie Hearn. I mean, maybe he can have a bit of an influence. I don't know. So is it two-faced? In some ways, yes, it is. But I think most people are probably worried about, okay, it's one thing having Joshua as your pay-per-view. Maybe have Tyson Fury versus Dillian White on pay-per-view on DAZN. Okay, that's fine. But is that just the start of it? Because originally, pay-per-view was designed for that. The must-see fights. When there's world titles on the line and things like that. You finish work, you've got to get home to watch the pay-per-view. You end the night early in the pub because you want to get home and watch the pay-per-view. Whatever the situation may be. Nowadays, if anything's half decent, it's thrown on pay-per-view. But again, say for example, Chisora versus Parker 2. In the old days, would that have been pay-per-view? No. But it is now because it's based on clicks, isn't it? If enough people click a button, then Chisora is pay-per-view. If enough people click the button, Joshua is pay-per-view. Same with Dillian White, same with Tyson Fury and whoever. If enough people click that button, then they are pay-per-view. It doesn't matter whether or not there's a world title on the line or it's a must-see fight. It doesn't matter. If enough people click the button, then that is a pay-per-view fighter. That's how it works nowadays. Some people don't like that. Well, there's nothing you can do about it. Click it or don't click it. So DAZN incorporating pay-per-view, I don't care. I really don't care. If they have to, I'm going to have a choice. Click the button or not. Because ultimately, one way or another, Fury versus White is going to be pay-per-view. Joshua versus Usyk is going to be pay-per-view. Whether it's DAZN or whether it's Sky Sports or BT Sport, makes no odds. It's going to be pay-per-view. But of course, there is also that argument as to how selective are they going to be. Fury versus White, for example. We know that fight's going to happen. Joshua versus Usyk too. We know that's going to happen. It's going to be on pay-per-view. Both of these are going to be on pay-per-view. Say on DAZN, for example. It's going to be pay-per-view only for UK customers, but not American customers. But what fights do they have in America that will be pay-per-view in America, but not pay-per-view here in the UK? Are we about to get stitched up? Because already in America, their price point is cheaper than ours for DAZN, is it not? They pay $100 per year. We pay £96 per year, which is the equivalent to what, $120, $130, something like that? So already we're getting screwed more than the American customers, are we not? And if you start throwing pay-per-view on top of it, when in America they don't have to pay it, it's a bit unfair. So lots of different ways of looking at it, but ultimately, if they do pay-per-view, whether they don't, it is what it is. We'll just roll with it as and when. And again, I'll make that choice, as you will too, as to whether or not you're going to pay the pay-per-view for it, or you're going to find other means, whatever that may mean, whether it be to stream it illegally or whatever, then that's what you're going to do. Or you're just not going to watch it. The best thing to do when it comes to pay-per-view is nobody click that button, but that ain't going to happen, is it? It's not going to happen. So anyway, that's my thoughts on DAZN going pay-per-view. Nothing we can do about it. Is it two-faced of Eddie Hearn? In some ways, yes. But in some ways, I understand. If DAZN want to be competitive with Sky Sports and BT Sport, then they're going to have to incorporate it. And that's pretty much the be-all and end-all of it, isn't it? Anyway, drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up. Subscribe. Catch you on the next video.